welcome to Barre with Mary. We're going to slow down a little bit today and I'm going to geek out a little bit with you. So today's class is going to be all about really deep abdominal activation. How do we get there and how do we incorporate it when we're working out? Because it's essential to really getting the most out of your workouts. This is a great class if you have an injury, if you are pregnant, if you're postpartum, even if you're 5 years postpartum, this is a great class. If you sit all day, if you have low back pain, if you have hip pain, all of that, this is gonna really help. We're gonna get in there and find that deep activation. So you do need a couple of props. I'm gonna use a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, no big. Grab a beach towel and just roll it up. If you're ready to up level a little bit, go ahead and grab a set of light weights too. We'll use those a little later. Now grab a block and join me on your back. You're gonna plant your feet, and you're gonna bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Now I want you to take your block or your beach towel. I'm gonna go ahead and refer to it as a block, but if you're using a beach towel, just substitute beach towel in when I say that. You're gonna bring it between your inner thighs. Beautiful. So heels are aligned with your sits bones here, and you wanna find neutral. So most of us have a tendency to kind of arch up here and open the rib cage. I want you to take your hands to either side of your ribs, and I want you to take a big inhale. Feel how your ribs press into your hands. Now as you exhale, I want you to feel your fingertips draw your ribs in and down towards the mat. So you're really feeling as you inhale, your ribs press out into the palms of your hands, and as you exhale, your fingertips are trying to interlace towards each other. One more time, inhale, fill the rib cage out into the palms without arching the back. Exhale, knit the ribs together. Beautiful. So there's step one of your deep abdominal activation. The ribs always stay in and down to avoid that arching. Gorgeous. Now, take a moment. How tense are you in your shoulders from that rib work? Yeah, soften your shoulders, soften your face. Okay, beautiful. Was I right? Were you super tense? Now, keep that rib cage activation going. Inhale, filling up the sides. East to west, you might say. And as you exhale, front low ribs wrap in and hug down. That's where I got rug from. Now from here, I want you to slide your hands down to the sides of your waist. Take an inhale, fill up. Exhale again, feel the sides of the waist wrapping. Slide your hands down to your hip bones. Inhale. Exhale, feel the hip bones. Wrap in. Beautiful. So all the sides of your waist are hugging in. Rib cage is folding down towards the mat. Beautiful. Last thing I'm going to add on. I want you to inhale and I want you to really actively squeeze the block with everything you have. As you exhale, I want you to imagine your sits bones pulling in and up. Squeeze the block at the same time. Try it again. Ready? Inhale, fill up, east to west, side to side. Exhale, everything wraps in. You squeeze the block. You squeeze your sits bones together and you feel the sits bones pull up. Yes. So what we just did there was not just activate the TA, the transverse abdominis, but we're adding in the pelvic floor as well. Take a big inhale, side to side, one more time. Exhale, squeeze the block, wrap everything in. Pelvic floor draws up, up, up like an elevator. Let's put that into action. Take the block out. You're still gonna feel the energy of your inner thigh squeezing in. Take the block between the hands and reach it up to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, nothing changes. You're squeezing your inner thighs together, squeezing your sits bones, wrapping the ribs in, wrapping the sides of the waist in, and just floating the block overhead. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale. Keep going. So as your block reaches overhead, you're challenging your abdominals to work harder because you're adding this extra weight and this extra temptation to lift the rib cage. So what you need to do is really focus on that work you did before you were moving. Use your exhale. Hug the front low ribs in and down. Hug the hip points in. Feel as though the block is still between your inner thighs and squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the sits bones, lift that pelvic floor. Beautiful. Inhale up. You have two more. Exhale, reach. The last one, inhale up. Exhale, reach. Now inhale the block overhead. Take an exhale and float the right leg up to a tabletop. This can be plenty for you. Stay here if this is enough. You want a little bit more, inhale. Exhale, left leg floats up too. Notice if you lifted your ribs or tensed in your shoulders. Beautiful. Inhale. Exhale, arms reach overhead. Inhale, pull them in. Same thing we just did, just adding even more weight because now our legs are lifted. So you don't have the support of your feet, right? So continue to find as much softness as you can in your face, in your shoulders, in your neck, in your chest, and take all of that energy that you had there and put it into this really deep focused abdominal work. 2 more, exhale. Inhale. Last one, exhale. Inhale, beautiful, hold it center. Let your right toes tap. Bring them up to center, yes. Let your left toes tap. Bring it up to center. Now you notice that I'm saying tap. My feet do not tap the floor here. Because if I take them all the way to the floor, I start to arch into my low back. Yes, use your exhale. And your inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Now you might notice your hip flexors start to activate more than your core. If that's the case for you, I want you to go ahead and bring both feet down to the mat and just march one leg up and march it down, then switch. March the left leg up. March it down, beautiful, yeah. Hip flexors like to take over because they're really strong and they enjoy that opportunity. Now your hip flexors are a critical muscle, right? They're a critical group. You need them to lift your legs, right? But right now I want to try to soften the hip flexors and I want to get you really deep in the core. Even yourself out and maybe center. Now take that block and press it into the front of your thighs. If it's your beach towel, fantastic, use that. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, press your palms into the block and pull your thighs back into the block simultaneously. Again, inhale, east to west, breathe. Exhale, sits bones squeeze, you press into the block. You feel your ribs hug in. You feel the sides of your waist hug in, and you feel that deep core contraction. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Last time, big inhale. Big exhale. Take the block back between your thighs. Squeeze it one more time. Send the fingertips up overhead. Soften the shoulders. Take an inhale. Here's where your hold's gonna be. Exhale, reach arms and legs away from each other, even if it's just 1 inch. Squeeze the block, soften the ribs, and if your ribs are lifted, I want you to bring your arms up more towards the ceiling, okay? Just hold it here and breathe. Your inhales fill you from side to side, and your exhales deepen your engagement. Beautiful. Again, inhale, exhale, last one, inhale. Exhale, reach 1 more inch, hug it in. Take the block out and take a moment to just gently rock from side to side, let everything go. Now remember, to truly find that deep engagement, you also want to find a true release. So the best chance to release your abdominals is on your inhales, because that's when your pelvic floor relaxes. So one more time, big inhale, fill up, feel everything relax. And as you exhale, find your way up to a seated position. Take that block or that beach towel and take a seat on top of it. So you can fold up your beach towel as much as you need to give yourself that little bit of extra space for your hips here. Even if you're really flexible in the hips, I want you to play with sitting on the block today, okay? If you're up level, you're gonna grab your weights. Bend the knees and drive down through the heels here. Now, either palms pressed together or you squeeze the weights, totally your choice. Weights, 100% optional here. So I want you to squeeze the hands together as you inhale. And then as you exhale, maybe close your eyes and think about all that alignment you just set laying on your back. Squeeze your sits bones together, wrap the hip bones in, wrap the sides of the waist in, hug the ribs in, and this time knit the front lower ribs in as you pull them back towards the spine, yes. Inhale, fill up side to side. Exhale, squeeze. Feel that pelvic floor lift up, beautiful. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Let's take this and do a little movement. Inhale. Exhale, rotate towards the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate to the right. So your core, keep going, is made up of 4 layers. Let me rephrase that. Your abdominals are made up of 4 layers. Your core is made up of a lot more than that. So on the bottom is your transverse abdominis. That is the deepest layer of your abdominals. It wraps around you like a corset. So when we talk about deep abdominals, when we talk about postural muscles, that is really the king. That is what we're referring to. I should say I. I don't know who this we is. This other person that teaches classes to you. On top of that, you have 2 layers of obliques, internal and external obliques. And your obliques are what we're working right now. It's what rotates your torso, right? It's what lets you twist. So oblique work is pretty crucial, in my opinion, because I feel like twisting is one of those things that comes out of nowhere, and you're not really bracing yourself for it, right? You're not prepared for it. A lot of times it comes, and it's a pretty sudden movement. You're looking at something over your shoulder, you're passing something to your kids. For me, it's that my 75-pound puppy is trying to chase a butterfly and whips me around one direction or another. Then on top of that, you have your rectus abdominis, the 6-pack layer of your muscles. And that's what allows you to curl. So, also important. 2 more. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Last time, exhale, twist. Hold it center. Take a breath. As you exhale, squeeze your sits bones together. Sit tall. Here's where you want to be when you're working. I know it's not where we are, but this is where you want to be when you're working. So take a moment and close your eyes. Think about that corset layer of your abdominals wrapping around you every time you exhale. Think about the internal and external obliques hugging, wrapping ribs toward opposite hip bone, crisscrossing each other and stabilizing the sides of your waist. And then feel the front low belly pulling in and up, allowing you to stay really tall and long here. Inhale. As you exhale, set the weights down. Flip all the way up and over to all 4s. One last little set here. Take the block between the thighs. So, we've talked about what you're doing. We've talked about what abdominals look like. Deep core is not just going to be those 4 layers of abdominals. It's going to also be your pelvic floor and a handful of other things as well. We've talked about setting it up. We've talked about how you can use that setup when you're seated in your chair, at work, in your car, all those things. Let's make it a little more intense so you know how to incorporate this into any workout you come into. So block is going to be between your thighs. If you're up leveling, you're going to take the weights and put one behind either knee pit. Beautiful. All 4s. Tuck your toes. Squeeze the block here. Take a big inhale. Feel that east to west, that side to side filling up. Exhale, everything we've talked about. Squeeze the block. Squeeze the sits bones. Hug the sides of the waist and hug the ribs in and hover your knees off of your mat. Inhale, tap your knees down. Exhale, everything squeezes in. You hover the knees. You feel that power in your abdominals. Again, inhale, tap. Exhale, hover. Last one, inhale, tap. Now I want you to hold this hover. Now I want you to squeeze the block in. Let's go. Take it. Little squeeze, little squeeze, little squeeze. Now come back to your breath. You don't release everything as you inhale. You just fill up and soften just slightly, maybe 30%. And then as you exhale, you re-engage even deeper, activating the deep core and stabilizing yourself. Go 8, 7, 6. You're here for 4, 3, 2. Inhale, tap the knees. Now if you have the weights, I want you to go ahead and remove them. Otherwise they're going to fall and hit you on the toes for this next exercise. Find yourself back in all 4s. Inhale. Exhale again. Hover the knees, squeezing the block. You're going to inhale, center. As you exhale, I want you to twist your knees over to the left. Shoulders stay square to the mat. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist over to the right. Inhale to center. Keep going. It's exhale, twist. And inhale, center. Yes. Exhale, twist. 4 more. Pressing down through the palms, but really bringing your focus here to maintaining that deep core activation. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale, last one. It's exhale. Now I want you to hold it center. I want you to squeeze that block and take a big breath in. Exhale, squeeze the sits bones together. Lift the front low ribs up towards the ceiling and feel that power through the abdominals. 4, squeeze the block for 3, squeeze the block for 2, tap the knees down, untuck the toes, and then walk the hands forward, keeping the hips up high and melting the forehead down for this puppy dog pose. So not only do you want to deeply activate and find all of those stabilizing muscles, but remember to really be strong, to truly have strong muscles, you need to be able to release them as well. Take one more big breath in here. And exhale, let it go. Walk your hands back. Take your block and put it either the long way or the tall way, depending on your hip flexibility. Take one foot to either side of the block, and then take a seat on it. Elbows come to the inner thighs, hands can press together. I want you to lift your heart. So here is where we take a minute to fully release. So part of how we're going to fully release is you need to release your pelvic floor, because we just did a whole heap of engagement. Your pelvic floor is going to release when you inhale, because it's connected to your diaphragm. So as the diaphragm pulls down on an inhale, the pelvic floor also releases. And then as you exhale, it draws up and slightly engages. So use the inhale, maybe close your eyes, and feel the pelvic floor drawing down. It takes some practice. It feels, at least to me, very counterintuitive. As you exhale, just try to feel it gently draw up. And maybe feel your inner thighs press open a little more so you get a nice stretch for the hips. Just a few more breaths here, maybe keeping the eyes closed. And if you are not feeling this at all, if you think I'm absolutely insane, that's okay. I promise that anatomically that is how it works. I would encourage you to take time and practice it, especially if you're pregnant or want to be pregnant someday or have any kind of pelvic floor issues. This is a fantastic way to connect with your pelvic floor and to find more strength there. One more time, big breath in. Big breath out. You can find a seat in any position that feels comfortable for you. I'm just gonna go and sit on my block here. That is your class. So like I said, we slowed it way down, but I hope you feel heated in your abdominals. I had a shake going for sure. I was shaking when we were pressing into the block on our backs, and I was also shaking when we were on all fours. So I hope you were too. I hope that wasn't just me. As always, I love your feedback. I love your questions. I am here every Monday with a new Barre style class. So I will see you again next week, and I hope you have an amazing day.